We have all heard the saying, culture is not what an organization says, it is what an organization consistently does. Inclusion is no different. It is shaped not by intentions alone, but by the decisions we make every day, the policies we implement, and the experiences we create for our people. Coming up next is an industry exchange, Inclusion in Action. We will hear directly from organizations that have not only championed inclusion, but have been recognized for their leadership to the Bombay Chamber Inclusion Awards. Representing sectors as diverse as BFSI, technology, and aviation, our past winners will share their journeys, the unique inclusion challenges within their industries, measurable impact, and the key lessons they have learned along the way. So whether you're just beginning your inclusion journey or looking to take it up to the next level, this session promises practical insights, honest reflections, and ideas you can take back to your own organizations. Please join me in welcoming our first industry exchange organization, Indigo, two-time winner at our 2024 and 2025 awards. A huge round of applause for the Indigo team who will present their reflections and their experiences.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Myself, Joydeep, I'm part of the HR team, and I have with me Suchita. She's part of our DI team. Suchita, please. Okay. Can we have the slides, please? Yeah. Come this side. Come this side. So, what we'll try to do is walk you through how we look at DI at Indigo, and what has been our philosophy, how we drive it, internally through the processes. And yeah, so we'll start with some of the synopsis and then we'll take it forward. Let's just fix the IT bit. Okay, good. Yeah. So how do we drive? We call this philosophy as 6C Embrace. As you can see, 6C is our code. I hope all of you know that. So. And vision is inclusion, because the way we look at it is viewing everybody through a human lens. And the philosophy we drive is through a concept called embrace, and we'll walk you through what does that mean internally to us. Yeah. So how do we look at it from an embrace standpoint? We look at, of course, the equity, belonging there, respect, and we have each word where we link all our policies and all our practices into that. You want to walk them through each of them once, and then we'll go to the next.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Very good evening. So, Embrace is something that's an acronym, of course, you all can clearly see for folks, on the diverse set of background. So, equity, multiculturalism, belonging, respect, accessibility, community, and empowerment. So, typically, Indigo does not go by, exclusively with gender, or be it persons with disability or pride or any other, set of diversity spectrums. We ensure that every employee is being catered under these, 7 pillars that we have created, and we embrace everybody. So that's how even the tagline stated, viewing everyone through a human lens. To go ahead with...
We'll walk through each of them briefly. Yeah, equity.
So with equity, we believe in mentorship and sponsorship. So that's how I think, having a strong, bold leadership also is a framework behind this whole ideation. DI-focused recruitment. We do a lot of recruitment irrespective of hiring of our women pilots. We have a great notion around, hiring of the cadet pilot programs, where we ensure that a 25% is something which has to have every batch with women pilots. And that also makes us one of the largest when it comes to having female pilots globally.
So one achievement we have done this year is now we have the highest amount of women pilots across any airline globally, which is a big achievement if you look at it. And as an organization, we have launched a campaign to sponsor women pilots because you might be aware that obtaining pilot licenses are pretty expensive. And we're looking at sponsoring women who are not financially strong and sponsoring that entire pilot program. So that's also an initiative we've launched. And this, of course, has got us a lot of recognition from IATA as well. Yeah, move on? Yeah. Okay. Let's focus on the next one.
So it's multiculturalism. Of course, when we have a diverse set of workforce, we ensure that we embrace everyone. Festivities, be it celebrations, even our town halls or any other representation forums that we are a part of, we ensure that every employee or every diverse spectrum person is a part of the same. And that's all the celebrations that we do. We also have something called internal job postings, which allows employees to experience different department, move to different functions and experience new roles. So that's also one of the key important things that we do at Indigo.
So how we do it in Indigo is we have a central DI team where we program manage this across the company, because of course without that focus we cannot drive the program. So that's how we do it here, right from the hiring bit of it to in terms of managing their career, their growth. Like one of the, I think pictures are there, the gentleman here, he has joined us at the entry level and now he's now a manager leading a team of close to maybe about 200 odd people in Chennai. So that clearly gives people aspiration that they can create a sustained career in the organization, because often the challenge we have seen is acceptance of people with PWD into managerial roles by the teams themselves. So we have created some success stories internally. Of course, this is purely on merit, and we have basically supported them through this journey in terms of learning, etc. So that's one of the stories we have. We also have the example Suchita was talking about, the picture there talks about the cricket league. So whenever we do any sports event, we make sure that we have teams. We fly teams from across the country. The colleagues, especially in PWD function, to be part of these activities. So this is the way we kind of make sure it is visible in the organizations, and the buy-in also be there. Like today we have our business leaders with us, because for us this initiative is part of our business model. It's not something which is standing outside and driven by typically the DI team. In our case, it is part of the business model itself, and the business only drives it for us. Next. Yeah.
So belonging, I think when we entered the room, we were discussing around, I think Meenakshi was calling it out, belonging being a very important part for Indigo. Again, it always all downs with bold leadership, mindset, and a lot of things, top-down approach is still there. But we ensured that, we have a great employee engagement where our NPS, which is a net promoter scoring, which is very high when it comes to, people who are from the diverse set. This also helps us in catering, passengers with different requirements, could be PRM passengers with reduced mobilities. So this is also a strategy for us in catering, ensuring that people who are our customers, they have a smoother travel journey with us. So it's also something that a lot of people feel belonged. We have in our last 3 to 4 years of journey with DEI, hiring people with especially PWDs. We've experienced that the number of passengers flying with us has really increased. I'm not sure how many of you have experienced, but we have hired a lot of people at the front-facing role, and these people are speech and hearing impaired. So they are deaf people. They use and communicate only in sign language or through a written communication. and they can offer you your boarding pass anytime you're flying with Indigo. And this is across 80 plus airports at this point in time. We operate in 99 airports.
So one initiative I can share, which we did last year, we trained all our frontline employees, that's close to 12,000 people across all 90 airports, in Indian Sign Language. And now Indian Sign Language is part of our onboarding training, which is mandatory for all frontline staff. And for all our training modules, we have converted them with help of sign languages. So now we have complete trainings done in sign languages. And that's like a 1 month training. Before a person hits the check-in or your airport, when you see them, they have undergone a month-long sign language training, the complete training in all our SOPs, safety precautions, etc. And that you can imagine that 1 month training is a huge initiative, and getting 12,000 people trained across. And now all our 17,000 frontline employees are already trained on the Indian basics of Indian Sign Language. So that was it took us a few months, but it was a very good reception we got from our customers around that.
Alongside, I think we also ensure and collaborate with different airports where we can create accessibility for our colleagues. So that, one of the pictures was previously displayed that showcased that there is a low-end counter that we had requested to the Delhi airport, so that a colleague who has dwarfism, she can perform her role seamlessly. So yeah, these are some of the small initiatives and collaborations that we do with government or any other airport authorities. Respect, definitely. I think this is one of the quotient that every DEI agenda follows. An employee or a person should feel respected and valued. This is one of the manuals that we've done at one of the metro stations, which is quite adjacent to our headquarter office. It's the Guru Dronacharya metro station. You can search and Google. So this is something that we have, had a tagline that is shared by the Prime Minister, stated Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. We just added a little notion to it, Beti Ko Pilot Banao. So it's also an initiative that we have catered to. Furthermore, our sign language sessions is something that we are, like Joy had already mentioned. We also use CART, which is a text-to-speech feature. Any of the intimate meetings or any of the engagements that we're doing with a wider forum here. So we ensure that, it is an accessible communication, because I think it's important that everyone feels valued and respected, whosoever is a part of this cohort. So that's
one initiative which we have done to drive respect is we have, I think weekly, Disability Connect, Dis-Ability Connect, which is for all people with disabilities across the network. We drive it on a weekly basis where we connect with them along with their managers, and we give them a forum to share their concerns, anything which is disturbing them, anything they are not able to resolve, or anything good which is happening. So a lot of times we get a lot of ideas because we are also learning. We ask them, what is bothering you? What do you need? So one feedback, for example, came that when we are talking to passengers from the deaf colleagues especially, that how do we communicate? So then we gave them all digital boards. So all our deaf colleagues across the network were issued digital boards for that, so they can use those digital boards to communicate with passengers. So a lot of feedback comes from them. We try to incorporate that into our policies, so we know what we're doing there, what is the impact on the ground. So that's how we kind of build this connect. So we have multiple such forums. We'll talk about Yaji soon. Move to the next.
Accessibility, again, it's a very important aspect for, I think, every organization across, irrespective of, be it private or government. So we ensure, inclusive washrooms. We kind of also looked at a strategy that we will be recruiting people post an accessibility check. So the initial things that we have done is first the accessibility check, irrespective of the disability of a person. So in case we feel that one of the airport, if not catering to lifts or any of the accessible features, we would then look at something, a different approach to the same, or maybe create an equitable resources around the same. One of the key initiatives I can mention is we understand the airport premise is a huge space, from the boarding gates or to the check-in counters or to any other back office areas. So we kind of had supported our colleagues with a motorized wheelchair. And this is something which is a great support for people with reduced mobility. They can, just board their wheelchairs and, pan across the airport. So this is something that happens up till Srinagar, till down Chennai, Madurai, all these airports.
I think one thing I want to share is the difference between an organization where your folks are in one building, which is controlled by you. You can do a lot of stuff, right? Because it's in our control. But when we have to drive accessibility, for us it's a bit of challenge because these buildings are not owned by us. So the example why we have shown here is getting a shorter check-in counter may look simple in an office which you own, but in an airport environment where you don't own it, the operator may not have incentives or the priorities to drive this. So that for us is a very big challenge. So we had to really do a lot of accessibility audits across, across the locations. While there are laws in the country, we all know that not everybody implements it. So how do we go and drive this with operators, which are sometimes PSU, sometimes private owned, to make subtle changes in the way their accessibility is working, because our folks will work there, is where the biggest challenge for us comes. So even a small change like getting a lower, height desk takes a lot of time and effort, working with a lot of partners. So that's, for us, it's a big challenge, because we have to influence other people to improve their accessibility for our folks to work. So that's something important for us to share. Next.
I think next again. So community, again, this is some of the ERGs. One of the strongest is, of course, our 6E Girl Power. It comprises of all the women colleagues across Indigo. A lot of engagement happens down there. Since Joy is not a part of it, so he won't know it. So, but 6E Breaking Barriers is something, an ERG for our colleagues with disability. This is also something which is an engagement-driven, where we enhance their learning skills, cater to, new courses that we have, which is a part of our next slide as well. Safe Space is an ERG for our Pride colleagues. It is a very close-knitted group, but a very, creative group where we connect. We have invitees who can, come down and, do a lot of sessions with us. And then we have our DEI Council. This is a representation of leaders across all functions that we have. So they kind of come together and do a lot of project work. We kind of brainstorm on a lot of things. What needs to be done next is something that happens with the DEI Council in the first place. Indigo Cares is something which is a wellness ERG. It caters to men well-being, diet and nutrition. We have our in-house nutritionist as well. A lot of doctors as well. Mind and Balance, we have another ERG. Preventive Health and Wellness. So again, all women allies and all those ERGs are right there. So we have a lot of engagement in those as well. So we are, I think, not leaving anybody out of the room. So everybody is quite covered when it comes to having those community in place.
I think the challenge here to achieve this was majority of our folks don't have access to laptops. They are on operator systems or they are flying, so they don't use laptops so much. So for us, we use technology here. We have a very amazing platform app we have created, where we integrated a lot of these ERG groups there. So the engagement can happen through the mobile apps. which give them a lot of secure platform. For example, we have a tie-up where any employee across our organization can, in case of an SOS, have a free ambulance to be sent to them at their doorstep. In typical metros, it will reach within few minutes. Those kind of things we have enabled because we recognize that these things are required. Second, these ERGs, the beauty of that is they are not driven by us. None of these ERGs we drive from the HR or the DI team. The spokes are from the business and they only drive it. We only basically, you can say, kind of manage the governance and the code of conduct, those kind of checks, or the system point of view that the systems are working. We don't drive this. We let them drive this and give them a platform. Another important thing I think which has worked in our favor is having a council. When we got the council in place, we ensured that all the council members are decision makers. They are mostly CXO -1 or at best 2. Why we kept that consciously? So that the decisions can be made in that council and those decisions can then be brought down to each level and can be executed. Because we are very conscious that if we have just one member in the council for the sake of it, it will not work. So to drive that change, and it took time. Council members first time thought that why I am required here, like especially functions which are supporting finance, etc. But when they start seeing value, then they start, working much closer. And today the council drives a lot of things. We are more like secretaries to the council. They tell us what to do and then we drive it. So I think that's how we have driven this in our organization. Moving next, empowerment.
Empowerment, this is the last set. So of course, tech tools is something that we keep exploring. We attend a lot of forums to understand what is new in the assisted tech market at this point in time for our colleagues. Joy, would you like to take them through the EduGogi?
Yeah, EduGogi, yeah, okay. So two interesting things we did because the population we have, they are all working in shifts. They are not like having offs on Saturdays and Sundays. So there was a need which came from the team, from these ERG groups and a lot of these conversations we have that they need opportunities for studying further. So we launched something called EduGogi where we got some tie-ups done with a couple of schools to give even graduation, post-graduation, etc. And the programs are customized for us to give them the flexibility to complete them. And that allows them the flexibility. So a lot of people have opted for that. And of course, there is financial discounts, etc. But the other important thing is the new career path. Now, this was very important because the need came from the teams that how do I grow? Because what happens is when you get these people on board, and we have lots of them, after a while, how do they grow? How do we give them career in the organization? That's why we did something called 60 new careers, where we have roles we have identified across different departments, and there are learning modules created for them to do it at their own pace. And there is a certification done after an assessment by the department in which you are doing a course. So let's say I'm in airport services and I want to get into finance. Then there would be a course on finance, which I have to complete all the modules. After that, I have to be assessed by a finance person on my skills, and then I will be certified on this. So once you are certified, on the policy level, we give you certain leeways. For example, if a particular role requires you minimum 12 months in a current role, you can do that in 9 months. And then we have a centralized tracking of all these people who have cleared these courses and pushing them through a mentorship kind of thing so that they keep growing in their career. So our focus has now shifted in more about how do we build their careers in the organization, create success stories where people start emulating them and then follow them. That's how we have kind of tried to do it. So a lot of our pilots do a lot of sessions for women pilots themselves, their mentors, etc. So we're now working on mentorships and other areas. Done? Great. Thank you very much.
So yeah, that's our time. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Over to you, Stina.
A huge round of applause for Indigo for embracing inclusion in a big way. Thank you for sharing your journey.